Welcome back to another episode of the Rock Solid Sports Podcast. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, and football is back.
Let's go, baby. I'm so damn excited.
It's the best time of the year. College football just started this past week. NFL will literally be happening the night that this comes out. Could not be in more of a good mood. Couldn't be more ready. It is that time of the year. Summer's over. Fall's here. So, yeah, let's get into it.
We gonna make it, baby.
Welcome back to this week's episode. We have an exciting NFL preview, best time of the year. But before, we are presented by Slove. Slove is not just Colorado's next and up-and-coming clothing brand. It is a clothing brand who aims to bring a movement globally. When you wear Slove piece, you are not just wearing a piece of clothing. You are elevating your style and representing what love looks like. If you guys want to get on the movement, go follow their Instagram at sluv.co. That is sluv.co. Or visit their website at sluv.us. That is sluv.us. Go check them out. They're great. They're great to us. So, yeah, amazing stuff just in time for the fall as well, which means football season.
Damn right.
Before we get into the NFL preview, a couple housekeeping notes. I think we're going to be moving our episodes. We're going to start recording on Sundays in football season. We're going to figure out whether we're going to drop the episodes Monday or Tuesday. We'll get to that on a later note. And then, yeah, a couple topics before we get to the NFL. College football happened this weekend. I think we should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Some big games, not really. I mean,
Yeah.
there was some big wins, I should say. Big scoring outputs by a lot of the teams, I think, that we expected to. But then there was a couple good games filtered in there as well. Colorado, I think we should start off with that.
Yeah.
Happening Thursday, opening up the whole college football slate. What did you see?
I don't know. I see a team that is improving a little bit. I mean, because, North Dakota State University isn't just some run-of-the-mill FCS team. They are a team that you could put them in, like, maybe the Mountain West, and they could maybe win that conference. So they're not, like, just your regular FCS team. So playing against them, I think they did exactly what everyone thought they were going to do. They were going to keep it close. It was going to be a pretty solid game. And, the star players showed out. Shadur shows that he is a very solid quarterback that's just having to run for his life because of that offensive line.
Yes, sir.
And then Travis Hunter just proved why he's still easily the best player in the country.
A monster.
I think if they can put together a pretty solid season too, I think Heisman's not completely out of the picture for him. But also Horn also played really good. Sanders, I don't know. He's kind of all over the place, throwing his body around a little bit. But, I mean, that's what you like to see kind of your players.
You're talking about Shiloh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've always had the opinion that he's not the most looked on, like, son of Dion, kind of. So he kind of tries to put himself into a lot of situations but, hey, man, he's playing hard and can't take that away from him. The worst time clock management I've ever seen in my life on the last one. 3 straight passes. And, honestly, if that North Dakota State guy doesn't get a pass interference on that last drive, I do think they get the ball and go down, score, and win the game. So that's something that maybe needs to be worked on a little bit. But other than that, I think they did exactly what they were supposed to do or were expected to do. We'll see how they come out against Nebraska. I think that's really going to show us who they are after kind of a tough week, I would say. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see how they play moving forward, but pretty okay opening.
Yeah, there was a couple teams that struggled against a couple FCS teams, Oregon being one of them.
Yeah.
Michigan being one of them. So, I mean, we saw some teams struggle with FCS teams, but North Dakota State was arguably the best FCS team, playing this weekend. So, yes, at Colorado, I mean, yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Travis Hunter, I mean, yeah, incredible. Like 3 touchdowns. It was just awesome to see Colorado just back, Folsom Field just popping again. So, that was fun. What other games did you want to talk about?
I mean, just short note on the Georgia-Clemson game. I would think it makes me feel a lot more confident as a Georgia fan that Georgia is who they're supposed to be this year. I think they proved that they are the team to beat this year, and I'm excited to see where that goes. My other favorite school, Mississippi State, showed out against, I think it was East Kentucky State. I mean, just not a big school, but I was watching the game, and I mean, I've been watching their games for a while now. That was the most fluent I've ever seen the offense run, and I was really excited to see how they were going to approach everything. They got this new Kevin Coleman Jr., I think he came from Louisville, and absolutely electric punt returner and a good wide receiver as well. Also, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this, but Florida State.
I had two games I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
The first one being Florida State. Obviously, we kind of did our preview before their game last weekend.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get to talk more about that. But the funny thing I just wanted to say was Hunter, when we previewed in our college football preview, we didn't go over the ACC, and Hunter wanted to slide in his one note of run the clip in ACC. We're not even going to cover the ACC.
No, yeah, I just don't think they're good enough to really think
Florida State.
Well,
the only thing to mention.
Yeah, that's the whole ACC preview right there, Florida State. All right. He wanted to throw in his one note that Florida State was, we didn't talk about them, and I was like jokingly said that was our ACC preview.
Yeah.
I was wrong. The University of Miami, you guys were our ACC preview. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Florida State, DJ Yuga, get the fuck out of college football.
You need to get a job.
You need to get a job lately. He has been terrible these last 2 weeks. There's still a guy on Twitter that needs to eat a bowl of dog shit for Florida State losing.
Even Scott Van Pelt called him out
on live television.
He said he's not doing it.
No, he turned off all of his social medias.
He did turn it back on today and said, I'm not standing on business, was one of his exact retweets, and he's like, I'm not eating this shit.
No, with Florida State, that has been a terrible effort.
Yeah.
These last 2 games, I know their whole fan base, their boosters, their coaches, they have to be going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me. And the only other game I wanted to talk about was LSU, USC.
Mm-hmm.
USC went in. It was a neutral site game in Vegas, but they were technically, the road team, whatever. They looked really good. Miller Moss, their quarterback, he looked great. I got to watch, I think, like 3/4 of the game. That last couple minutes was insane.
Yeah.
USC scoring, then LSU scoring, USC just going right back down there. You could have kicked a field goal and, pretty much sealed the game probably because there was only like 9 seconds left. But they decided to just end it there.
Yeah, Woody Marks, the Mississippi State transfer.
Yeah. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
No, yeah, there were a lot of tweets that night at all these Mississippi State fans. It was just like me looking at the screen on the 400th time they tell us that Woody Marks came from Mississippi State and he's not on our team anymore. But he was a dog, and he still is. And I think that team showed a lot. I think it was comforting to USC fans. Do I think that they're going to be electric in the Big Ten this year? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I don't think they're going to be bad by any means, but I think it gives a lot of comfort to USC fans because there were a lot of things up in the air about whether they were going to be able to compete after, Caleb Williams left and,
Their defense got better.
No, yeah, 100%. And that was a really good game. Just to bounce back to Florida State for a second, I think what I have brought it down to is it is an extremely talented team full of extremely talented players who are the most inconsistent players you have ever seen in your life. Because DJ Uiagalelei, I think is how you say it, and I think I'm going to nail that. But I think it's so weird because he'll have the worst drive you've ever seen for like 3 straight drives, and then he'll have one where he's running across zone, crossbody, perfect balls, like it's dotting, dot, all the way down the field, and then the next one throws an interception, throws it 50 miles over the guy's head, and it's just, if they can figure out their consistency, it's too late, I think, for them to weasel their way back into the playoffs, especially because they're probably going to drop another game or 2 or 3.
At this rate.
Yeah.
But I have a weird feeling like they'll have like a late season surge, and I think they'll kind of figure out how to consistently play ball. I think they will get that. I think it'll be too late to crack into the playoffs, but I think they will kind of find themselves a little bit. So Florida State's going to have to go through a little bit, but I mean, DJU has always been just kind of the most overrated quarterback, and he's been to 3 schools in 3 years, and people still think he's like the answer for their program, and I'm just like, I don't know. He's the most overpaid ass quarterback in college football.
I think I saw the rankings when he was coming out of high school, and I believe he was the number 2 ranked quarterback prospect in between. I think it was Bryce Young.
Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud.
I know C.J. Stroud for sure after him, which is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, time tells, I guess you could say. The only, I guess, funny last note I had on that was Florida versus Florida State. People were saying might be put on Tubi or something.
Yeah, battle of the night.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Florida also just getting destroyed by Miami. So,
but yeah, I mean, just small ACC recap. Miami is the only team that I think Miami and Clemson are the only teams that I could see cracking into the playoffs. And I think Miami is an actual threat to a lot of teams.
Yeah. Agreed. The last note I had was on that LSU USC game. Brian Kelly, he stinks.
Yeah.
I think this is his 3rd year being their coach, LSU's coach, and they have not won a week 1 game.
Yeah.
I think a part of my take jokingly said that they should opt in to play week 0.
Yeah.
Just so they can get it out of the way. But Brian Kelly still has not won a game, and he's been putting, I guess, all these big games too. Like USC was this year. Last year, who was it? It was on like all over prime time.
Oh,
I think it was Florida State.
He lost to Florida State back-to-back years in the opening game.
Yeah, which is just insane to me.
Which if he would have played him this year, he would have won.
Yeah. Biggest losers, I think, Florida State so far. Biggest loser so far, Florida State, LSU. Biggest winners, probably Notre Dame, jokingly.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they went into Kyle Field, and Marcus Freeman had them guys right.
And I think we touched on the Notre Dame aspect of college football last week.
We touched on it.
This win
could
get them into the playoffs. Like, that's all they needed to do was win this one, and now they play more or less not anybody. The only good team that was still on their schedule, Florida State.
Yes.
We see how they are. So, I mean, Notre Dame's probably going to have a cruise to the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of happy for Marcus Freeman just after.
No, yeah, I love that team. It's just the general concept of not playing in the conference.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It was just funny to see, again, Kyle Field being as electric as it is, them Texas A&M being the Colt that it is, disrespectfully. Just to see Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman go in there and just turn it up, and he had his guys right and ready, and it was just fun to see, their fan base kind of happy again, because they've been happy, just getting by, I should say, but now that they have a chance to actually do something, this looked like the start of maybe something special. So, other than that, I'll throw in real quick, if Christian is watching, Texas beat the shit out of CSU. You're welcome. That was it. That's the whole note. So. What about you? New Mexico?
No, I didn't see. I'm not sure. I think they won New Mexico State, but I couldn't give you a real answer.
But I know whoever was playing Arizona.
That was a Lobos.
That was a Lobos.
He's talking about New Mexico
They
State.
died. I heard the Lobos was rough.
It was a great half, though.
Yeah.
Great half.
Stuck in it with U of A. So, but we will talk more college football next week. We have a couple more notes real quick before we get on to the NFL. Scottie Scheffler wins
inevitable
the FedEx Cup. And he, walks away with $62.6 million after this year.
Yeah, that's unreal.
And his caddy walks away with $6 million. It's awesome to see.
Good Lord.
Still, there's a lot of money for a caddy, I feel like.
Oh, no,
that's insane.
He probably made more than, I'd imagine 80% of the field in golfers this year.
Yeah.
No other, probably 80% of the field made less than $6 million.
Well, yeah.
And Mr. Scottie Scheffler, and got his caddy a bag. So, but yeah, I don't really think there's anything else to talk about besides inevitable.
Yeah.
He went in with a 3-stroke lead over anybody, and I think he would have only lost to one person, which was Colin Morikawa, who, if they started off even, I think he would have lost to, and then he would have been tied with Sahith Theegala, who technically, I guess, could have won after taking that 2-stroke penalty, but I don't know if you saw it. That was crazy.
He called it on himself, didn't he?
Yeah. And
what was it for? I didn't see that.
Just blading the sand backwards.
He improved his lie in the sand because when he went back, I think in his practice swing or maybe in his actual swing.
It was his actual swing.
Yeah, he pushed it back and then hit it, and then
that's something where I would have kept my mouth shut.
I
wouldn't have.
95% in the world probably would have, but
hey, honorable guy.
Big honorable. But I feel like that's something where it's like, if anything, it fucked up your swing. So it's like,
but it was so little that nobody could tell, and his swing wasn't even affected. Yeah. He just said he saw just little grains of sand just bounce off, which is like the smallest.
They had to,
But he gained fans doing it, so
they
I'm
had
not
to
mad at the
zoom
guy.
in and slow-mo it for you to see the grains of sand.
The
that
3
fell.
grains of sand.
Yeah.
I touched the ball, coach. I touched the ball.
Was that on me, coach? I hated that commercial. But yeah, Scottie Scheffler, inevitable. What a year. And I think the last thing we should touch on is Johnny Gaudreau, NHL superstar, passed away this past weekend. I've heard nothing but incredible stories from all these, Spit and Chicklets podcasts, from just NHL players going on Twitter, Instagram, going on TV, whatever, going on other podcasts. They've said nothing but good things about Johnny Gaudreau and his family. His brother also passed away. Terrible story. I mean, they were supposed to go to their sister's wedding the next day.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine that, you're supposed to be I believe it was in Jersey for like a weekend. And like all these people are supposed to be there for just like one weekend, and you end up having to stay probably like, 2 weeks for other services.
Yeah.
And, he was huge in Calgary. I learned today that like the reason he went back to Columbus was just to be closer to his family, because people thought that was, a crazy move going from the Calgary Flames to the Columbus Blue Jackets, who just haven't been as good. But he was I think 6-time All-Star, something like that. Amazing player. I've heard nothing but that he was a more amazing person. So it was a terrible tragedy. I couldn't imagine, that's like us losing one of our favorite athletes while they're in the prime of their career, in your city. I just couldn't imagine. So I would just want to say before we get into the NFL, rest in peace, Johnny Gaudreau, his family, prayers to all them, condolences. It's terrible. I couldn't imagine. So anything?
Nah, it's just tragic. I mean, you would send such like ripples throughout the sports world, like everywhere. Like did a little moment of silence and paid tribute to him. Yeah, it just sucks. Just like that, it's done. Like that's how quick it can go. So make sure you're telling people that you love them. You never know what the next day can hold. So make sure everyone knows that you love them. Say your sorries, your I love yous. Do all that.
Life is precious, man. So anything?
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, also that. Yeah, don't drink and drive. Very important. So sad for the hockey community. So I hope they find a cool way to tribute him. I think they play Calgary and Columbus play each other. I think it's like November 9th and December 3rd, like kind of back to back in both cities. So I hope they find a special way to tribute him there, because special player, but also a special person. So along with his brother as well. So all right. Now that we got all the other sports news out of the way, it is time to get into the NFL preview. Best time of the year. We get to sit on our couches all Sunday, Thursday nights, Monday nights. This year we have Wednesday nights and Friday nights too. I think the only night that won't be having NFL football at all this year is a Tuesday.
Yep.
Which is insane to me. Wednesday was crazy, and I think it's going to be on Christmas this year, so tune in for that. And then Roger Goodell always said that he'll never schedule an NFL game on Friday just because it would get in the way of high school football.
Love that.
News for Roger Goodell, there is a football game this Friday in Brazil between the Packers and the Eagles. So,
what time is it?
It's at night. It's like 7 or something.
I was going to say maybe he did a good thing and made it a day game.
No.
Stuck to his word.
Nope.
Fuck them kids.
But is it that's the same time zone, right?
I have no clue what time zone
it's
Brazil
probably
is.
pretty close.
Yeah.
I'd assume it's close, but yeah, before we get into that, we're going to go through every division, every conference. We're going to go through award winners, all that, and then we'll probably get into predictions for this week's games. Each give like one bet or something. But let's go through the divisions first. We're going to start in the AFC North. I need to hear a winner, biggest winner, or obviously who you think's going to win the division, maybe the biggest loser of the division, maybe a dark horse, and potential playoff teams, I guess, or just big storylines in that division. AFC North, I'll get my pick first.
Gotcha.
It's going to suck because I do think this is the year of Joe Burrow. You know what? No, I'm going to stick with it. Cincinnati Bengals, they're bringing it back. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be very good. I actually do think they win week 1 against the Chiefs. I will talk about that later. Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. I am interested to see, with Jamar Chase still holding out of his contract, if he's going to play. Adam Schefter said he has like 48 hours, so pretty much until like when this comes out, to decide his contract. And if he doesn't, most likely not going to play. Yeah. Still think the Bengals are going to have a great year regardless of what happens. I think Jamar Chase will be back. I don't think their owners or general management is that stupid.
No.
Joe Burrow needs him. T. Higgins needs him for T. Higgins to be successful. They lost Joe Mixon, still have a good running game. And I do think Joe Burrow is going to have a huge year. I think a lot of people forgot about him. So my pick will be the Bengals, but I still do think the Ravens are going to make the playoffs. So it's not like a huge dash on the Ravens, but I think the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow steps up this year.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think the Bengals are going to win the division. I think it's going to be. I think the bout between the Bengals and the Ravens is going to be one of the more exciting back and forth to see it down the stretch of the season. I think I could see it going either way. Like, who knows? You never know when you have Lamar and Derrick Henry in a backfield what can happen. But I agree with you. I think Joe Burrow is going to finally have a year where he's really healthy and is able to run that team, get it to where it needs to be. I think they're going to take it, but I think Baltimore's not going to go down without a fight, and I could just as well see them winning it. But my money would be on Cincinnati.
Your pick, your winner.
I'll play devil's advocate just for the sake of it. I do actually think Ravens are going to win, though, and I think a large part of it is going to be Derrick Henry. And to be honest with you, I have no idea how they're going to make that work. But I don't remember who said it, but they didn't lose their leading rusher somehow. They just gained
another leading rusher.
Yeah, they just gained Derrick Henry, which I think is going to be very beneficial for them. They have one of the best defenses in the league as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a 50-50. Like you guys said, it could be the year Joe Burrow, but I'll say Ravens. It's close though.
My dark horse. I mean, obviously there's only 4 teams per division, but there's a way that there's one division in the AFC that can have 3 teams make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think it's between the AFC North and AFC East. Yeah. I could see the Cleveland Browns, if Deshaun Watson pulls his head out of his ass, they could have a good year because their defense is scary in Cleveland. Pittsburgh, that's going to be my big loser of this division. I think we can all probably agree with that. And Russell Wilson might be the bigger reason of that, or just quarterback in general, because I think their defense is also stacked as well. So if I had to put in order for me, it would be the Bengals, Ravens, Browns. But I don't see a huge gap. Like there's a possibility that either 3 teams from the AFC North or 3 teams from the AFC East legitimately make the playoffs. Yeah. The sad part is only one can do it.
Yeah. I do agree with the Browns being kind of the dark horse. This is the one division where I think it's pretty cut and dry of what is going to probably happen. I would like to think there's maybe 1 or 2 more once I look into them. But, I think the Browns have a dark horse chance to crack into the playoffs. I also agree that the biggest loser is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they got way too much going on with 2 kind of okay quarterbacks that are battling out to start. You have Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator, who was the offensive coordinator of the Falcons last year, and he is hot garbage. He's terrible. He's the type of guy when you're on the one and you have the best running back in the league, he's going to run a jet touch pass to the tight end, which is then going to turn into a screen to the quarterback. He's that type of guy who calls that type of bullshit play. And so that mixed with just the nonsense that's going on with this Pittsburgh team, they're probably still going to go over 500 somehow because Mike Tomlin finds a way to do that with horrible teams. But I think it's all going to come down to the quarterback play, and I don't think the quarterback play is going to be that good. So, yeah, they're definitely going to be losers in the division.
Isn't he 17 straight years, 500 or something crazy like that?
He's never had a season where he hasn't gone 500.
Did that end last year or no?
No, he barely made it.
Yeah, no, they made it barely. But like you said, I think this division is pretty cut and dry. I don't see the Steelers really pulling it out, and I think the Browns have a good roster and they could do it. I just don't see Deshaun Watson giving them that. This again, I think every year we have this hope for Deshaun Watson. Hope if you're a Browns fan that he's going to play really good, but it just seems to never happen.
I'll say there's a lot of people that hope Deshaun Watson was in jail. But
well, yeah.
But yeah, no, I do agree with what you're saying though. I mean, I think every year you kind of wonder, is Deshaun going to come back to how he was playing in Houston? But okay.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
We're dancing.
I'm talking about football.
Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah, so am I. Also missing Nick Chubb for 7 weeks will be huge. I know they have a couple of decent running backs, Jerome Ford in that backfield as well. But, yeah, there's a lot of question marks. So
behind Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and I mean, they got
Jerry Jeudy.
Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy.
I don't hate Jerry Jeudy, but
No, I mean,
I don't know. With the Deshaun Watson,
David Njoku's still there. Like they have a good team. I
Yeah.
mean, that defense is stacked. Miles Garrett's on that defense. There's that. Oh, fuck, what's his name? I'm gonna be so mad at myself. Is it something Newsom or
Greg Newsom.
Greg Newsom. He's on. I think he's still on that defense.
Greg Newsom.
They have some guys there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they even come second in that division. And some it only really takes one injury for the Bengals and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, we kind of saw what the Browns did last year, even with Joe Flacco. They don't have Joe Flacco anymore, but a backup quarterback can kind of just step into that role with that defense, and they can be successful. They made it to the playoffs last year. So Joe Burrow getting hurt or Lamar Jackson getting hurt could really put, whole turn on that division. So other than that, I don't really have any other notes besides, I'm just really interested to see what happens with this Jamar Chase situation. So hopefully, and then I think the other big move is Patrick Queen did go to the Steelers from the Ravens. So who knows what that defense looks like without Patrick Queen. I think they'll still be all right, but still having, Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey, I think they'll be okay, but and Kyle Hamilton. So they'll be good. But, my Bengals will be my pick for that. And I do think as of right now, the Bengals and the Ravens will both be in the playoffs. I'm going to stay away from the Browns as of right now of them getting into the playoffs. Because I'm going to have, in this division, the AFC East, I think 3 teams are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the craziest take. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Buffalo Bills this year, thinking it's going to be a rebuilding year, this, that, retooling, whatever. Mm-hmm. The last time a really good team in the AFC retooled and rebuilt, it was the Kansas City Chiefs, and they won a Super Bowl.
It's very true.
And I think all it takes is having that top 10 quarterback, top 5 quarterback, and they have that. So I don't think the Buffalo Bills are going to be my pick to win that division. I am going to roll with the New York Jets.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that defense is stacked as well. Sauce Gardner, Quinn Williams. I mean, their offense is going to be disgusting once fully healthy, too. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is one of the best quarterbacks ever. Yeah. Throw that with Mike Williams once healthy. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in the NFL. I just think that they're due for some good karma. Yeah, and I think this could be the year for the New York Jets.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with a lot of things you say. Personally, I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think it just comes down to that being a team that's been together for forever, it feels like at this point, and I think they really have molded into playing each other. And as long as they're not playing in over 90-degree heat, I think they're under 90 degree heat. I think they're going to be fine. The only reason I take the Dolphins primarily though is because the Jets and the Bills I just see as teams that are like question mark teams currently. I think right now it's like if so and so plays good, then we're going to be fine. If so and so does well, if so and so fits into the scheme, I think that's what can happen. I could easily see the Bills being insane still and taking the division. I could easily see Aaron Rodgers leading that team to doing really well. But I just think I'm going to go right now with the, I guess, safe pick. And I'm going to go with the team that's kind of been together for a while, proven that they can win. And I'm going to go with the Dolphins to win the division.
So I'm not questioning you, but this is what you kind of said. It's going to come down to the end of the season. If these 3 teams do play well, decent to each other, then Thursday, November 28th, I think it's week 13, Dolphins have to go to Green Bay, go to Lambeau. Okay, whatever. Sunday, December 29th, they're in Cleveland. Sunday, January 5th, last game of the regular season at New York Jets. Yep. 3 cold states. I don't know. I agree with what you said. They're gonna they have probably the most talent in the division, at least like skill players wise. Tyreek Hill, their 2 running backs, Jalen Waddle, if he's healthy. They're still good. Like I'm not. And Mike McDaniel's a tremendous coach. I'd arguably say he's way better than Robert Saleh and the terrorist promoter in Buffalo. But like I do think the Dolphins will be really good. But like if they come down at the end of the season and they're playing that Week 18 against the Jets, it's just another playoff game for them, and we haven't seen them win a playoff game with Tua and Mike McDaniel. So I'm really interested to see where that goes and like what direction, and if it even ends up being a noticeable game, which I hope it is.
Oh yeah.
I think this is another one of the divisions where it's coming down between the Jets and the Dolphins. My gut tells me Dolphins just to win. Purely, pretty much what you said, Jackson. They've been together a while. And I think my biggest thing about it is with the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, coming off his Achilles kind of scares me. We haven't seen him play anything, right? He didn't play any preseason or anything. I don't know. He's old. He's 40.
He's old.
He's getting there to play off of Achilles injury. I feel like it's going to be tough on him. I hope he plays well, but I just don't know if he has the gas in him to do it anymore.
For 18, we're like say 17, 18 weeks too.
And yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. Like, he missed a whole year. Didn't even play. I mean, he played what, 1 snap, 2, 3 snaps,
5 snaps, I think it was. Yeah.
So I don't.
4.5, 4.
Didn't even hit that special promotion bet where it was like he goes over a half yard.
Yeah.
Didn't even do
that.
that.
Yeah, it was an incompletion.
took my damn money, man.
That's my biggest thing about that is Aaron Rodgers is a big question mark for me this year. Just the gas, not his performance. So he's going to play the same, but is he going to make it all year?
Yeah. Yeah, we got to find out.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, the whole main reason I think I picked the Jets, one, having a Hall of Fame quarterback back there, but
100%.
2, I think their defense is just
nasty.
A lot better than every other defense in this division. Buffalo losing Matt Milano and like I don't even know what safeties they have anymore. Like, I don't even know.
They got rid of everybody.
I'd say, is Poyer still there? I don't think so. The other safety they had, I don't think he's still there either.
White's not there.
Yeah, Tre'Davious White. So, like, yeah, I just think it comes down to defense, and I think the Jets will win a lot more close games and big games because of that. I don't think that will be week 1, so I don't want everybody to overreact to that week 1. But, yeah, I just think going forward, that was my reasoning. But
yeah.
I think we all could agree the Patriots are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
100%.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where I think they're at least 4 or 5 years. Unless Drake May is the future, which I don't think he is, I think they're about 4 or 5 years removed from being able to compete in this division. It's just, honestly, and it's half on them and half on the fact that the division is just stacked. Like, these are a bunch of teams, like you said, that could all go to the playoffs, all compete to try to make it deep as well. So part of it is them just kind of being in a rut. They're in that post-Bill Belichick, because Bill Belichick, as great of a coach as he is, like Hall of Fame first ballot coach, no doubt, he really screwed that team into the ground these last few years.
Terrible GM.
Terrible GM, not picking up what the team needed, kind of just like sticking to this like old school football mindset. And I think it worked when they had like these gritty guys back in the day, and like that was the way football was played. But now it's a completely different game, and I think he was trying to hold on to how it was played in 2012, 2015, those type of things. I think he was holding on to that, and I think it's kind of hurt this team really bad. And I think it's going to take at least maybe 3 to 5 years to kind of fix what he kind of left as the product that they need to perform as.
Yeah, we'll see what Gerard Mayo can do there. I mean, I think they're going to be in years of rebuilding. So, thank God. I think it's time for the Patriots to
take a break.
Yeah, and all the Patriots fans that listen or watch whatever, you guys should enjoy the draft. You guys didn't get to do that for God knows how many years, 12, 15. So, enjoy the little parts of football besides winning. Like, sit down and relax. Watch it. Watch a game. Bet on a game. You don't have to win everything. So, I do think when we do our playoff predictions later, I do think this will be the one division that has 3 playoff teams. One of them would probably barely squeak in, but I think they a lot of talent, and I'm excited to watch this division. So we'll go to a lot less talent division, the AFC West, home of your Denver Broncos. I didn't even notice until right now you're wearing all the gear. Would you like to? I'll let you start about this division.
Well, what do we got to say here? We all know. I think we all know who's going to win the division.
Bo Nix.
Don't think it's a secret. It's the Las Vegas Raiders. No, the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sure. I'm sure they're taking it. I think the only thing coming out, not to sound cocky or anything, coming out of here is the Broncos. I don't know if the I don't think the Raiders are going to do that good this year, but I don't know if the Chargers are anything to look at either, really. So I guess if you want me to have a dark horse, it's going to be my Donkeys. We're coming in and we're taking out Patrick Mahomes.
Dark horse or delusion? I don't know.
No, it's 100% delusion. I honestly don't see us cracking the playoffs. It'd be cool. I think
a lot of people are high on the Broncos this year. You'd be surprised.
I can't
not
believe
playoffs high, but like second in division, possibly high.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that we definitely could be second in division, but we, like you said, we are a very untalented division. So, and just happen to be right behind the Chiefs, one of the best teams in the league. So, like I said, If we crack the playoffs, it would
be the best year.
Oh yeah,
Denver Broncos sports since 2015.
Everything would be a success. Sean Payton, Coach of the Year. If we make the playoffs, I don't see it happening, but it'd be cool.
I'll let you talk on AFC West next.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, obviously Kansas City's probably going to win the division.
It's not probably.
They're
going to win the division.
It's not probably.
But in my mind, I don't know. I think if Bo Nix plays well, I think that they can have a half-decent season. And I could see near the end of the year the Chargers and Broncos kind of being in a back-and-forth fighting for like a wild card spot. Wouldn't shock me. I think the Broncos over-under wins is still like 5.5. I think that could be an easy over. I don't know, but because we'll see a lot the first week or two of the Broncos, if they've changed or if it was just preseason magic. But Bo Nix looks good. I mean, that's a positive.
I think the offense he's getting put into is like we've all said, he's literally the exact same thing. I think he's getting put in or set up for success. It's just about if he can do it. Yeah. Really, I think week 3 is the biggest week of the year for the Broncos. Seattle, Pittsburgh. If we don't win, if we don't win either of those games, we're done. We aren't winning any games. We don't. Ooh. We just got to get there.
I think it sounds like week 1 and 2 are very important.
They are, but 3 I feel like is the first test,
which is
the Tampa Bay.
I feel like week 1 and week 2 are both like emotional games for like the Broncos franchise, though. I know, obviously playing Seattle like a foe of the 2015s. And then you're playing against Russell Wilson. I think this is more of like an emotional battle.
Yeah.
Maybe with the fan base and with management and coaching, but I don't know if more of the players have that feeling because they haven't really been around, besides the ones that were obviously around for Russell Wilson last year, but which is like barely any of them.
Yeah,
just Cortland Sutton, I guess. Yeah. But okay, this is where I disagree with you guys. I do think I don't even know why I keep saying think. The Chiefs are going to win the division. I have some thoughts about how bad and the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be. The Los Angeles Chargers, it all depends on Justin Herbert's health. He's already plantar fasciitis. It's exactly what you're going through. You're just not playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to go for them. If he's healthy, they're going to be probably around 500. Yeah. I could see that. Jim Harbaugh is an amazing coach. I think we all know that, besides, the cheating. He's an amazing coach.
Yeah.
They have, Ladd McConkey. They have the Ravens backfield from last year.
Mm-hmm. That's insane.
They have Bosa. They have Khalil Mack still. Like, they have guys. Quentin Johnson can somehow catch a ball. They'd probably be pretty decent. Josh Palmer is not terrible. The Raiders have talent, too. They have Devontae Adams. Mm-hmm. Their quarterback situation just sucks. Yeah. I think Antonio Pierce is a huge question mark, being a first-year head coach. And you notice how I say Jim Harbaugh is a terrific coach. He's also a first-year head coach, but I think him and Antonio Pierce are obviously just two different levels of coaching. They have Max Crosby there. They have Devontae Adams. They just got Brock Bowers. Christian Wilkins, I think is his name, from the Dolphins last year. They just got him. I still see the Broncos as the 4th best team in the division, and that's not coming from a side of hate, because usually I absolutely hate the Broncos and their fans. But this is just my football analysis right here. I'm excited for Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is actually pretty good. I almost drafted him in fantasy yesterday. Yeah. I tried to until somebody picked him up. But I'm not even trying to hate on the Broncos, which it might sound like because I usually do that. But I just truthfully think the Raiders and Chargers are going to be better than a lot of people think, and that obviously has some factors to it. Mm-hmm. And so does the Broncos, but in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. they're all three going to be probably around 500 or below, but 100%. I just think it's a little more factors than I think people are looking into, which the Broncos, they have factors too. Is Bo Nix the guy? Who knows? But it's not the end of the world for the Broncos. No. I think it might be the end of the world for a couple of these teams if some things don't work out. For the Broncos, they could win 4 games this year, and their future is still, I think, possibly brighter than... Yeah. They're not in shambles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's my
AFC Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. So.
That's why I said dark horse, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
We could come from the depths of the swamp and surprise the world.
My one compliment to the Broncos organization, how they have set it up so far, is it's not the end of the world if something bad goes wrong this year.
Yeah.
I think for the Chargers, if Herbert has a terrible injury, there's going to be question marks, going forward. The Raiders, if Antonio Pierce proves to be a terrible coach, And, I mean, obviously they have their own quarterback problems, which they might address next draft. But if Antonio Pierce turns out to be a terrible coach, then they have to go into another coaching search. That won't be the case for the Broncos. So I think the Broncos are going to be sitting pretty at the end of the year, even if their record does not show it. So, all right, AFC South. My Indianapolis Colts division. Yeah. They're not going to win the division.
I mean, I don't know, maybe.
It's going to be the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
It sucks to say. They were one game away from, the Colts were one win away from going to the playoffs last year, beating the Texans, one fumble away, honestly. But I just don't think – I think the Texans got better, and I think the Colts stayed par. Their secondary got probably worse. Our defensive line has more injuries than it had last year, at least at this moment, which is not good news. Our wide receiver core kind of stayed the same besides getting A.D. Mitchell, which I'm really excited for. But, yeah, Texans. That's my pick.
I got to agree. I think that the Texans have just they got really – I'd say the Texans are up there with one of the best turnarounds in NFL history with how kind of okay they were after Deshaun left and kind of went into some shambles there and quickly turned it around in some drafts and some trades and made their team a whole lot better. And I don't think they slow down. I think they even maybe get a little bit better. C.J. Stroud's probably, if anything, he's probably going to get a little more comfortable.
He has more weapons to throw to now, too, which is insane to think about.
So I think they're going to make a pretty good run in the division. I could see the Colts being sneaky and kind of creeping up behind them, cracking into the playoffs. But I think the division is Houston's to win.
I really want to say real quick, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the potential of this division. Yeah. The Jags, I mean, they're the Jaguars, so they're irrelevant just in terms of the NFL. But, Trevor Lawrence is still there. They have a squad. Yeah. Calvin Ridley, did he go to the Titans?
Yeah, he's at the Titans.
Yeah, I was going to say he switched division. I forgot that. But they have a squad, too, in Jacksonville. They were in the playoffs, 2 years ago? Yeah. They almost beat Kansas City. It was the Chad Henne game. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but they almost beat the Chiefs in the playoffs 2 years ago. Jacksonville still has all the talent in the world. And if Will Levis can take a certain jump, this Titans team is not bad either. Yeah. They added L'Jarius Sneed. I think they added Jamal Adams. Mm-hmm. They have guys in every team of this division. So, for everybody saying that the AFC South is going to be terrible, I think this might sneaky be one of the most tough divisions to win this year. Yeah. A lot of 10-7s, a lot of 9-8s. Mm-hmm. I could see maybe this whole division being around that number.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yep, I agree. I think, like you said, if Will Levis pulls it together for the Titans, because I feel like that's going to be my biggest loser is going to be the Titans. But if he could, they don't have no one in this division really has that bad of a squad that's to really count anybody out. I think, and also being in this division, I feel like everyone just has a tough schedule. Being in your division, like you just said, your division is just tough.
You got to play each other six games a year,
Yeah. So, I think it'll be the Texans as well. Like you said, I think it's theirs to win it. But like you said, I could easily see the Jaguars or the Colts sneaking up there and putting up a fight.
Yeah. I'm praying. I'm hoping Anthony Richardson is the guy. So, all right. I guess we will go and talk NFC. Mm-hmm. NFC is sneaky good this year.
Yeah.
Sneaky good. A lot of good teams. I think there's going to be a lot of debate in this conference. I guess we'll start in the North. I think that we start with debate, and we debate the way through. But I think this is a good division to start with.
Oh, yeah.
Detroit Lions might be the second best team in football, and a lot of people are talking about it. It's not a surprise anymore. The Lions are going from the hunters to the hunted. How will they adjust to that? We'll find out this year. I still think they're probably the second best team in football right now, behind the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think they've kind of found that winning formula. I think Dan Campbell has kind of finally put together a team that he's envisioned, and I think he's finally been able to put those puzzle pieces together, and I think they are finally the dream team that Dan Campbell wanted them to be, and I think that's going to kind of push them to be, in that same vein of kind of the Dolphins, where I feel like these guys have started to play together for such a decent amount of time that they're starting to kind of really grow as a team. I don't know, man. It's just some of the best drafts ever out of the Detroit Lions, so that it's paid off full. So I think they win the division, and I think it's going to be a really, really big scrap for second.
I think it's the Packers.
Think so?
As of right now. I think Jordan Love and that offense is going to have a great year. Got Josh Jacobs over there. Yeah. Their defense was decent. Their secondary is really good. The Bears, obviously, a lot of questions going into this first year with Caleb Williams. The Bears, I think, are sneaky.
Yep.
I think we can all agree with that. Vikings at the bottom of the totem pole. Not their fault, really. A lot of injuries and rebuilding. You know,
Sam
just
Darnold's your starting quarterback.
yeah, like Kirk Cousins leaves. Like it takes some rebuilding. It's not it's not their fault. A lot of injuries too. I think you're right. It's going to be between the Packers and the Bears for that second spot. But I see a world where the Packers might somehow win this division too.
Yeah.
It takes one injury to Jared Goff, and the Green Bay Packers are one of the also best teams. They beat the Dallas Cowboys on the road in the playoffs last year. They're just going to get better.
Yeah, I think other than the Lions, I think this is the division of the quarterbacks because I think a lot of it is like the Green Bay Packers will do really good this year if Jordan Love plays well. The Bears will do really good this year if Caleb Williams plays well.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest thing in this division. We already know how Goff is going to play. Like you said, the only thing that can slow them down probably is injuries.
Or not playing in a dome.
Yeah, honestly. But, I think it's just a big question mark for a lot of these teams on whether their guy is going to do as good as they are hoping he will. We've already talked about Jordan Love before. Solid quarterback, very good.
Might be top 10 right now.
Yeah, but it's just we got to see, can he keep that momentum and magic that he had last season? Can he pull that over? That's the biggest question that I personally have is how is that carryover going to happen in this season coming up? So I'm interested to see how that'll do. Caleb Williams, I think it's not that crazy to say this is the best situation a rookie quarterback has ever been put in his entire life.
Ever. Maybe that's dead serious.
I don't think there's been a better situation ever.
That's a great take.
Surrounded by so many great players.
Say maybe Tom Brady. But
maybe.
But not a first overall.
But even he, I feel like, just had to grow into stuff. But yeah, first overall
I would say
pick.
Brock Purdy and Tom Brady, those late rounders that weren't expected to get thrown into the fire and just happened to have stacked rosters and good coaching around them. This is totally different. No number one overall quarterback has ever been thrown into a situation like this.
No, not at all.
Their
But he's been
offense-
surrounded by just tanks
Weapons.
everywhere.
Weapons.
And weapons everywhere. So if he comes in and plays how he's supposed to play, it wouldn't blow me away if they were to sneakily kind of get close to taking this division.
And it might just be the hard knocks in me and me just getting amped up, which I'm about to watch tonight again, by the way. If there's another episode, I hope there is. Caleb Williams has DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, if he's healthy, and Roma Dunze to throw to, not to mention Cole Kmet, not to mention in the backfield DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert. And then on the other side, they have one of the best corners in the league, Jalen Jackson, I think his name is. I think I butchered that for sure. Jalen Johnson. I don't know, one of the two. He's all-pro defensive back. Montez Sweat was traded there last year.
Yep.
A lot of people forget that. They tried to trade for your boy that the Falcons just got, Hassan Reddick.
Yep.
They're not Hassan
Matt Judon?
Matthew Judon. That's what I meant. Hassan Reddick's still holding out for the Jets, right? Matthew Judon. That's what I meant. They tried. They're making an effort to totally stack this team and make it win now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus have done a great job putting this team together. And again, maybe this is just the hard knocks in me. I hope it's not. But I think the Bears, they're destined, I think, to have a good year. It's a really tough division, so who knows how that's going to go. And Caleb Williams is going to have some ups and downs. He's not going to be perfect.
He's a rookie.
Peyton Manning had the most interceptions ever in a season his rookie year. Turned out to be one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. A lot of people are hating on Caleb Williams for reasons that might have to do with football, might not have to. I think he's going to be amazing. I think I talked about this when the draft is around. The Bears have just gotten better. And I think, again, we're a bunch of teams that have been having bad karma for years.
Yeah.
I think this might be the turning point, and that's how it's always every year football kind of brings these storylines, and I think this is finally might be the turning point where all these old quarterbacks are filtering out.
Yep.
Tom Brady's finally gone and in the booth. Aaron Rodgers is on his last leg, literally. Russell Wilson is hopefully on his last team, literally. And there's none of these old guys, no Eli Manning, no Phillip Rivers, no Ben Roethlisberger. They've been gone for a while. And the last kind of turning point is Aaron Rodgers. Yep. Once he's gone, that whole era of quarterbacks is gone, and it's a whole new era of teams, quarterbacks that have been waiting for this moment. The Bears might have capitalized. I hope so.
I mean, and you can almost say we're getting to a point, maybe not now, but maybe in a year or two, where even the Pat Mahomes, that era of quarterbacks are also starting to kind of go. We're starting to see the teams kind of flip there too.
Dak Prescott.
But that age of guys who we were when we were in high school, those were the guys. And now that we've kind of grown beyond that, it's Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, those guys are still solid
guys,
and they're going to be around for a lot longer. But they're starting to kind of see like a new age come in.
This new talent is something. That's what they're starting to see. So
it just seems like every year, I don't know if this is what everyone has experienced through the history of the NFL, but it just seems like it's just getting more and more competitive throughout the entire NFL. Like there's probably only like a handful of teams that are going to be ass. Whereas then I feel like everyone else, even if their record doesn't show it, there's not going to be an easy walkover team really in a lot of people's schedules other than, like I said, like a handful of teams. So
there's only like one bad team per division, and there's a couple divisions that don't have any bad teams. Mm-hmm. And we'll get there later too. But yeah, real quick, did you have any thoughts on the NFC North?
You guys pretty much got it all. I think it's a dogfight of a division. If all quarterbacks, like you said, it's a quarterback division, play up to their abilities, and Caleb Williams comes out like they can. Green Bay Packers got Josh Jacobs now. I think that's big for them. I think it's a dogfight. I think Lions take it, but it could be anybody. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to my favorite division in the NFC, and I think this is going to shock some people. The NFC West, I think, is going to be in for some rumblings this year. Mm-hmm. Call me crazy. I don't know if the 49ers win the division this year.
Really?
Might be a hot take. I don't know if it is really, but I've been hearing a lot of the hype on Matthew Stafford and this Rams team. Mm-hmm. Sean McVay is still a good coach. They got a lot of running backs now that they can. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum's drafted there. I don't think he'll really see much time, but a huge running game that I think they're going to utilize for once and try to get Matthew Stafford to the end of the year, not have him throw 4,000 balls a year. You know what I mean? They got Cooper Kupp is healthy again. Mm-hmm. Puka's back. Their defense, they might have the best offensive line in all of football. Their defense is still good. Mm-hmm. It's not as what it used to be a couple years ago, but it's still decent. And they might have like a little easier of a schedule than people think. I think they finished second last year in their division. So they're not playing what the 49ers are going to be playing. Mm-hmm. Not playing all the first seeds across the NFL. So I think they're might shock the world this year. I still do think the 49ers will end up winning the division, but there is a real world where Matthew Stafford leads this team to maybe like 12 wins. Yeah. And it all might start in a miracle in Ford Field this Sunday. Yeah, man. With going back to Detroit just like they did last year. You know what I said about these tides turning. Yeah. They lost last year. It could be a whole new storybook this year. I think the 49ers still do win. Yeah. The Rams probably second if they don't win. And then I think the Cardinals are going to be sneaky.
They're sneaky.
They have a really good offense. They're going to have
a really good way about beating really good teams somehow. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't make any sense.
They have a really good offense this year and a really bad defense. But but they, like you said, they can win a couple of those exciting games, which week one, I don't want to overreact, but they go into Buffalo.
I gotta find out a lot.
We're going to find out a lot, but I don't want to overreact. But we might find out a lot. So your thoughts on the NFC West?
I agree with your closing statement there. Yes, I do think that the 49ers are going to win the division. I do agree that the Rams are also going to kind of throw their hat in that ring for sure just because of Matt Stafford. Since his Georgia days, he's been just kind of a dog. I sincerely think that if he wasn't on the Lions for as long as he was, he would probably have 2-3 rings right now, I think. I think he's that good. I think now it's just this late in his career, it's like he's starting to get a little banged up. And so if they, like you said, can take a little pressure off of him and kind of just dial him back a little bit, I think he can get back to that success that he's been having. And I think they could also, like you said, I think they could be a little sneaky team. But I think the most interesting thing in this division is not right now. I think it's in the future. I think the 49ers are about to implode.
That's my worry.
I think they're about, in the next year or two, I think the 49ers are going to implode and this division is going to open wide open.
My worry isn't that they're going to implode rosterly this year. It's mentally. Yeah. Going with this, Trent Williams just signed his contract today. Mm-hmm. He just got back. Brandon Ayuk last week just signed his contract. Yeah. Deebo Samuel last year. Yeah. Oh, and then guess what? Guess who they have to pay next year?
Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm. Their quarterback. We haven't even got to that yet. Yeah. And they're going to have some really tough decisions to make at the end of this year, and I honestly don't think it's going to be that tough. Trade the wide receivers. Yep. Probably keep Kittle just for the vibes. Maybe have to get off Trent Williams. Yep. definitely keep Christian McCaffrey and keep all the white guys, trade all the black guys. That's what I'm getting at here, which it sounds terrible now that I say it. But
this is a big year for Brock Purdy because he has been playing good. I don't think anyone would disagree, but I mean, it's also he has been playing on a very, very good team, which I don't think takes away from Brock Purdy. I think he's solid, but that is something that goes into your mind where it's like if he has like an year, it's very easy to say, well, we could probably just go get somebody else, bring him in for a lot cheaper than we're going to have to pay Brock Purdy. Somebody's going to take Brock. Somebody will pay him that money.
Oh, yeah.
And we can go get some guy that I think can play really, really well in this team.
Yeah, maybe like a late draft pick. Maybe Quinn Ewers is like late in the first round. I don't think he will be, but you never know what happens throughout this full college football season either. Maybe they see a guy like Quinn Ewers and they're like, he might be able to step into this and we'll get rid of Purdy. We'll be sitting at like the 28th pick. I don't think Quinn Ewers will fall that far, but you never know.
Yep.
So, any thoughts on the NFC West? I know you guys play the Seahawks this week, so we haven't really mentioned them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's too much to mention about them. Really,
Cool jerseys.
I do. I like the green ones.
Got Bobby Wagner back.
No, he's on the Commanders.
Oh yeah, you're right. Shit.
Yeah.
No,
they drafted Murphy from Texas.
Oh yeah. Is he playing? No, never mind. I thought he had some controversies, didn't he?
Shit, probably. It's the NFL, baby. But he's definitely playing.
No, but I think it's 49ers are going to take it. I think it's Rams at 2, unless the Cardinals just do something absolutely amazing.
Kyler Murray, man.
He can. He's coming back, off of a full year, too.
Uh-huh.
Who knows what he could do.
This might be Kyler Murray's best year of his career.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. I think Greg Dortch is there still.
Yep,
James Conner, the running back. Like, they got a little bit of a squad, at least on offense. Their defense still might be in shambles, but we haven't seen Kyler Murray, like you just mentioned, this healthy. And the only other good weapon he's ever had besides Hollywood Brown was DeAndre Hopkins. And Marvin Harrison Jr., you never know. He might be a guy. He might be kind of like a D-Hop, so you never know. Is that your last note on the NFC West?
Yeah, I think so.
For both of you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was going to finish off with the NFC South.
Go.
But so we'll move on to the NFC East, which I think a lot of questions this year. A lot of questions. There's going to be one of these teams that is Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. This is just my take. One of them's going to miss the playoffs.
You really think so?
Yeah, because when I look at it right now, I think the Rams and 49ers both make the playoffs. I think the Packers and the Lions both make the playoffs. I think the Falcons make the playoffs. And that leaves between Tampa, Philly, and then the division winner of the NFC East, which I might have just not said was Philly. But just for me, as of right now, just looking at it. And the Bears might be in that mix. Cardinals, you never know. The Seahawks, they've been pretty good.
Yeah.
Tampa, I guess they can maybe fall off. But, dude, I don't know with the Eagles. This is Jalen Hurts' third year, 3 different offensive coordinators. I think their defense will be a little better.
Yeah.
Just because I think they switched coordinators there and brought in, what's his name? Fuck, I forget his name. The offense, they brought in Kellen Moore. You never know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Him being with the Cowboys the last couple of years. It's Vic Fangio. That's who they brought in. But, yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to win the division. I think they play normal Cowboys regular season football, which is good. I think Dak's going to throw the ball a lot. They have no running backs anymore. I mean, Tony Pollard's gone. Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, maybe the best backfield in 2017.
Yeah.
It is the year 2024 now. Yep. I think they have to throw the ball a lot. I think CD is going to have a huge year. I think their defense is what's going to hold them up, really. But, yeah, the Cowboys would be my pick. The Giants are at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
I think the Commanders are going to surprise some people. I
agree.
I think their coaching staff's pretty good. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a shock, and he might be my Rookie of the Year pick. We'll find out that later. And then, yeah, a lot of questions for me with the Eagles. I don't have a lot of faith in them this year.
Yeah, I mean, the way they ended last year was some of the worst football we've ever seen.
Some could say it was my fault.
Possibly. But I think that the Cowboys do win the division. I think it's, I don't want to say easy, but they're an amazing regular season team. You never know what you're getting in the playoffs, but in the regular season, they get the job done. The Eagles, I think, are just kind of going. They lost a lot of. I wouldn't say they lost too many. They lost key players, but I think they lost a lot of the foundation guys.
Jason
Kelce, Fletcher Cox. They lost foundation guys,
leaders
who kept this team moving and knew that pedigree they needed to keep going. They lost those guys, so I think
they keep Big Dom though.
Yes, they do. And I think that they are going to have some struggles trying to figure out how to get back to having, like, who's going to step up and be the leaders. Not Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts, when you watch him at any moment, it's like the most boring person you've ever seen, and not in like a cool leadership, lead by example kind of way, but kind of like just like a who gives a fuck, whatever. Like that guy last year made like a 70-yard field goal look like, and he just didn't clap, didn't get up, didn't look, just like
that's what we're supposed to do.
That's just like, dude, smile, like enjoy the game, like who cares? But I think that's going to be tough when you're quarterback. I don't know if he can be their leader, so someone's going to have to step up and do that. They do have Saquon. If he can stay healthy, that's a huge factor.
Saquon.
But yeah, just to round it out, I think that the Commanders, like you said, are very sneaking, and it's just surprising people. I think they're kind of in that tier of, if the quarterback plays well, then we see how they play. And I think if Jaden Daniels comes out and performs, I'm not saying they're going to, be insane. I'm just saying that
they're not going to be great. But
but I think like they could sneak one on the Eagles. They could sneak one on the Cowboys. Like, it's not an easy game in the division for the Cowboys and Eagles.
They might not be great, but they might be able to ruin one of these teams' seasons.
Yeah,
being the Cowboys or the Eagles.
I think if we look at the end of the season, one of these teams didn't make it, I guarantee you we can rope it back to a loss they had to Washington.
I totally see that. Oh my God, fuck! I'm so excited for football.
I 100% agree with everything that was said. Eagles definitely big question mark. I don't have anything to add. I'm just going to repeat everything you guys said.
Can I get a who does this guy play for? Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett?
Eagles.
Is it the Eagles?
It is. Can I get a who does this guy play for? Drew Lock.
The Eagles?
Plays for the Giants.
The Giants. He said the Eagles.
Didn't know
everyone plays for the Eagles now.
I just learned that Drew Lock played for the Giants, I think 2 days ago. And I knew that subconsciously, but I heard that again, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, it's preseason for us, too.
I don't know. You could see a world where he gets the start over Daniel Jones at some point in the year. Like, Drew Lock has proven to be kind of a dog, and Daniel Jones is ass. So
he's bearded ass. He has a beard now.
Yeah,
that could change everything.
His face is just not good, man. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just hard to look at.
I can see
he looked like he gained 40 years between like 2 seasons ago and last season. He looks 30 to 40 years older than he did.
Playing a sport in the New York media, it will do that to you. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles after 4 snaps. It will do that. Yeah, a lot of crash outs happen in New York, but except for Aaron Judge, he's doing pretty good. No, a quick side note. But yeah, I think this division, it's not going to be really surprising. I think the Cowboys, easy, in my opinion. Until they get to the playoffs, they'll probably lose week 1 just because Mike McCarthy sucks at his job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Commanders ruin possibly the Eagles season or the Cowboys season. You never know. So, all right, last division, NFC South. I'll let you start with this one.
Yeah, my Atlanta Falcons. I'm being as unbiased as possible, too. I think that the Saints are going to be mid to low. I think unless...
No, actually, I agree with that.
Yeah, unless their quarterback, I can't even...
Derek
Carr. Yeah, see, like... No. But unless he sucks so bad, they pull in Spencer Rattler, and Spencer Rattler's the next coming of Mahomes. I don't see them doing much. The Panthers are probably 5-6 years removed from being good. I think it's going to be between the Falcons and the Buccaneers. I think if the Falcons do what they're supposed to do, they should win this division. I think they will split a game with the Saints and the Bucs. I think they'll sweep the Panthers, and I think that'll leapfrog them to winning the division. I see them as a solid playoff team this year if Kirk can stay healthy, and even then, if he were to get hurt, I think Penix is in a spot to where he could help that team a lot. Best safety duo in the NFL. Solid corner, good defensive line. If there's a year that the Falcons are going to perform very well and get into the playoffs and maybe win a couple playoff games, it's going to be this year. The only team that could spoil that is the Bucs, and if they keep playing like they did last year. And I think all the Bucs have to worry about is Baker going to stay as good as he did the year prior? Because if he does, it's going to be neck and neck, and I think both these teams make it into the playoffs because I think both these teams are a 10-win team. I think at ceiling for both these teams, I could see 12 wins. Like, I don't think 12 wins for the Falcons or the Bucs is insane to say, but their floor is also low. So it's going to be interesting to see it. But yeah, I got the Falcons and the Bucs probably making the playoffs, but I do have the Falcons winning the division.
this is the best time of year because any team can be a 12-win team. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is you could just look at it and be like,
I think 10, but ceiling.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like so it's the best.
I mean, I'm not. Hey man, I'm not trying to go anything crazy, but I think the ceiling could be 17 wins.
17-0, baby. That's always the goal. No, I mean, I agree with almost everything you said. Like, I think the Saints are probably going to suck. The Panthers are going to be probably the worst team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe between them, the Patriots, and possibly the Broncos if things go wrong. And the Vikings. I think the Vikings are also going to suck. But, like, yeah, Tampa, do they fall? Do they get better from last year? That's going to be the big question. They probably are going to regress a little, that I'd imagine. Like, what's crazy is they barely made it into the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they did beat the Eagles in the playoffs. Yeah,
They did.
Really funny. That's crazy how football works. So I mean, just awesome. But they barely made it into the playoffs because they won 9 games, but they won the division. Like that's just crazy to me. But
yeah,
I think it's gonna be a lot of the same this year. I think one of them goes like 9-8 or 10-7, and then one might go like 11, and 6.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those years. So I think the Falcons do ultimately win the division.
Yeah, I mean, looking on the Falcons' year last year,
Their roster is just so much better.
their roster's way better.
Better coaching too.
Yeah, and their schedule is going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because they play all these teams as much as they do. But also, I think it's one of those things where last year, with Desmond Shitter as our quarterback, it was one of those things where we still found a way to win like 8 games last year. It was like 7 or 8, and like almost cracked into the playoffs with that bad of a quarterback and that whatsoever kind of up in the air offensive play caller or whatever. So I think even with that, we found a way to win pretty half decent. So I think it would be weird for us to take a step back when we've gained as much as we have. So I'm very, very excited to see what this team does. I have seen way too much out of this team to get too excited, but on paper, my excitement is there.
Desmond Ridder had the DoorDash commercial.
The
right?
DoorDash, yeah.
Are you a little worried about Michael Penix having
The Amazon one?
the Amazon commercial?
No, because it's all right. He's a backup right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. He's a hardworking guy. That's what I see.
Showing love on
Yeah.
on Labor Day.
Yeah, I mean he's killing it. I mean, Desmond Ridder did a commercial when he had already had a bad season, so it was very interesting to see him do that. So, but Michael Penix, the whole world's ahead of him. I think in about 2 years, if things go how I think they're going to go, he'll be the starter of the Falcons for the rest of his career, and I think he'll be solid and will be playoff contenders every year.
Yeah, with this roster and what I think Raheem Morris, that's the name, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I think he's going to do,
Yeah,
I think they're going to be pretty good. So
possible coach of the year.
possible. What about you?
I mean, you guys.
Say Tampa.
I don't know. I think it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
I do, but I don't know if Tampa's defense is gonna be good enough.
Yeah, probably not.
That's my biggest thing. They have a good, if Baker plays as well as they did, and that was my biggest thing about, like you're saying, they're regressing. I feel like they were so hot. Like they got so hot towards the end of last year, and they started playing really well. And if Baker plays as well as he did, their offense is going to be fine, but their defense is what worries me. I think it's insane how when the Falcons drafted Penix, we thought that was insane, and no one really knew. But now I'm sitting here, and I feel like they really have the best situation in the NFL because, it would suck if you paid Kirk all that money and then nothing happened with him. But like you said, if he really goes down and it's terrible, who cares? You have Michael Penix right there waiting.
Yeah, I think it's just you've looked at this Falcons team for so long. They've been in such a quarterback drought since Matt Ryan left.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, you look at the team. We got Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Kyle Pitts, Drake London,
this team
Darnell
is nice.
Mooney, Ray McLeod. There's one more. I can never remember his name. But then on defense, you got Grady Jarrett, Matthew Judon, AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, and Justin Simmons just added on the team. And then apparently we have some solid white linebackers on that team too.
Will Compton's back?
I think it's some guy from Boston College. Called him Captain America, I think. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
Captain America from Boston.
Yeah.
Boston?
No.
Can't do it. How you like them Falcons, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree with you. Said the Buccaneers defense, I think, is going to be the big question, along with coaching. I forget their coach's name. Black
Todd
dude.
Bowles?
Todd Bowles. Yeah, he's kind of been on the hot seat these last couple of years because they've been so average with a good roster. Like, they have decent players. I think Levante David's still there. One of the Levante David or the other linebacker they had is still there, and the other one I think is retired now. Devin White. I think one of them's still there. One of them's retired though. I'm pretty sure, but
Levante David's still there.
yeah. So, but the Falcons, yeah, it's their division to lose. I think.
I think so too.
At the end of the day, so. All right. Well, real quick, let's get into an ad break, and then we'll come back and we'll do our predictions for award winners, offense rookie of the year, defense rookie of the year, etc. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back on the other side. All right, exciting news, guys. We have a new sponsor, Verb Energy Bars, simple, natural energy and protein bars. They have flavors like carrot cake, chocolate chip cookie dough, French toast, cookies and cream, anything you could really think of. Brand new product. You guys should go check it out. Make sure you guys use our code, Rock Solid, all capitals, to get up to 30% off. Use Rock Solid, all capitals again. Get 30% off. You guys are going to enjoy it. You guys are going to love them. We all do. Yeah, go check them out. All right, welcome back to the second half of the show. Today we're going to break down offensive, defensive, rookie of the year, player of the year, MVP, all the playoff hopefuls and Super Bowl matchups at the end, just because to finish off our NFL preview. So I think it's going to be good. All right, would you like to start with offensive rookie of the year?
Yeah, so I think it's really a race between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Those two guys have the best odds, and I think they also have the best odds of performing well. And I think that Caleb Williams, if he does what he's supposed to do with that many good players around him, he should win it. I think Jaden Daniels is just going to give him a run for his money on his talent alone, even if the Commanders don't do that great, which they probably won't in that division as well as just in everything else. We'll see how they play. The sneaky sleeper pick that I have, though, to be honest, and this is not my Georgia love slipping through, Ladd McConkey, I think, is a very sneaky guy in terms of maybe making his way up this list in odds. Does he win it? No. I don't think he can compete with quarterbacks. But you never know, because the main reason I say that is because Justin Herbert, if healthy, is a very good quarterback. And Ladd McConkey could very easily be like a very good slot receiver for that team. And he's very good at getting open. He's very quick. He's very good at getting down the field. And he's shown his talent all years at Georgia, and I think he'll continue to do that here. And I think he's going to be a primary weapon for the Chargers, which is why I think he will go up in odds.
It's not 40-1 right now is his best odds on MGM.
Yeah, so I think he's one of those guys where is he the best wide receiver that got picked in the draft? No, but I think he's one of those guys who's going to immediately get put in there, kind of like Marvin Harrison Jr. in a way, if he's going to be immediately put in a position where he's almost the number one guy. And I think that's going to prove dividends with how good he is. So, yeah, I think like the top four would probably be Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison, Ladd McConkey, guys who are just going to immediately go in and I think have an immediate impact. And then, yeah, I think right on the outside of that is Bo Nix. We were talking about this before we came back on. I don't necessarily think you have to be on a great team to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Garrett Wilson did it when the Jets weren't that great. And they had Sauce Gardner did it for the defensive side when they weren't that great. So you don't have to have an amazing team to do really good things and get this award. So I think it doesn't come down to team. It just comes down to players. And I think there's a lot of skilled guys. But I do think that Caleb Williams probably takes it due to his situation and his skill.
Opportunity and impact. So, Caden, your pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I think, like you said, it's silly not to pick Caleb Williams. I think like if he comes in, does what everyone thinks he's going to do, it's exactly what's going to happen. My sleeper, same thing. Maybe my Broncos fandom coming through. It's Bo Nix, but I just feel like he's not really getting put in a position to fail that much as a quarterback. He's coming in running in basically the same offense he was running. He's not. I don't think he's really going to be airing it out. It's going to be the same high completion yards after catch that we saw, and I think that would puts him up there if they play well around him. Is the biggest thing. I think his Offensive Rookie of the Year doesn't depend on him. I think it depends on everyone else.
And that's
realistically
plus 1,100 odds is the best you can get on FanDuel. So that's pretty good value right now.
Yeah,
for that pick. So I'm going with Jaden Daniels. That's going to be my Offensive Rookie of the Year this year. I think Caleb Williams kind of struggles, and with the bright lights that are kind of going to be shined on him being in the spotlight, more than Jaden Daniels, I think, especially with Jaden Daniels being on the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels just has more leeway to go kind of under the radar, and I think he's going to have a good year. I think they both have scrambling ability, but I think Jaden Daniels has better scrambling ability. I don't think that's really an argument. And I think, like I said earlier, I think the Commanders are going to surprise some people. I think the Bears have higher expectations. And when Jaden Daniels goes out there, kind of like what he did at LSU, there wasn't a lot of people saying, "No, this guy was going to win the Heisman. This guy's going to win the Heisman." Obviously, there was a lot of people saying he might, but I think a lot of more people this year are saying Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in this class, and that might put a fire under Jaden Daniels' ass. I mean, it was last year, so it's an award. Like, Caleb Williams, obviously, I think might be the better talent, just like we saw last year, but Jaden Daniels might win Offensive Rookie of the Year based just off of staying out of the spotlight, putting up numbers, and being exciting, and bringing a team that you thought was not that great and putting them in contention to maybe get the last wild card spot. So I'm going to pick Jaden Daniels, and I don't really have a sleeper pick. I think all the wide receivers are kind of out of it.
Yeah.
I don't think Bo Nix is going to get it, personally.
Probably not.
Caleb Williams, I mean, that's not a sleeper pick, so I don't really know. I guess Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, shout out his pops. So I guess my sleeper pick will be Marvin Harrison Jr.
Gotta get him in there.
Yeah, had to do it for the home.
That's right.
I guess I'll start off with Defensive Rookie of the Year because this kind of is a homer pick, but a lot of people are talking about Lietu Latu. I didn't like the pick when it first came out. It's broadcasted online. You can go back. I was not as excited as I am now. All the stuff that's came out of training camp on how good our staff expects him to be, and kind of his impact in the preseason too. He was pretty good, especially in those I think last 2 games. So Lietu Latu plus 400, you can get him on DraftKings as long as he's healthy. He might be, like I said, opportunity impact, and I think he's going to be one of those guys on defense that's going to have automatic opportunity to impact the game. So, and in a division that I think is going to be tough, he might put some pressure on a couple quarterbacks going by the name of C.J. Stroud and Trevor Lawrence. So, that's my Defensive Rookie of the Year pick.
So for mine, it's really between 2 guys. I think that the guy who has some of the better odds right now, kind of up there, is Dallas Turner. I don't think Dallas Turner is going to be a Defensive Rookie of the Year good. I think he'll be solid for the Vikings, but I don't know. But it really became between Latu and Jared Verse, between those 2 guys, because I think they're the best defensive rookies coming in this year. I was thinking for a while I was going to go Jared Verse, but now I think I've switched to Latu, and I think the reasoning of that is because he won't be the primary focus on that defensive line. And I think that's what's going to make the biggest difference. I think Jared Verse, he's going to be on the Rams, and because they don't have Aaron Donald anymore, he might end up truly being the biggest threat. So he'll be doubled a lot more. Whereas in Latu, you guys have Buckner and
Kwity Paye.
Yeah, you guys have some solid guys on that line. I think Lietu Latu kind of sneaks by as kind of the second option that you don't need to double, and I think that's where he's going to kind of make his bread there. And I think that's what's going to make him probably get the Defensive Rookie of the Year. If there's any dark horse, it's probably going to be some corner that we aren't talking about right now that's going to have an absolute crazy year. Nate Wiggins is definitely a guy who I see who kind of piques my interest. Terry Arnold as well on the Lions. I'm pretty sure that's where he went, right? Him on the Lions. That's just a good defense to be put into. So those are 2 corners that I think could maybe crack in, but it's just, I don't know. I think Lietu Latu not being the main focus of emphasis on that defense when teams are going to block, I think is going to kind of show through, and he's going to kind of have a hell of a year.
Agreed.
I'm not really up to my defensive players I've learned as I'm sitting here. But my biggest thing wasn't Byron Murphy a huge pick for Seattle?
Yeah, he out of Texas.
Yeah. Give me him. It's crazy. I'm going to take Byron Murphy.
So he's going to have 3 sacks against Bo Nix and the Broncos this week.
He's going to have it's his Rookie of the Year campaign starts week 2. They're actually going to sit him this week. They're thinking he's the rest for his Rookie of the Year campaign, Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign.
Yeah, Byron Murphy, he was great last year, so I could see him making an impact in Seattle, especially with no Bobby Wagner. Their defense has a couple question marks, so I think that's actually a great pick. Good job.
Thanks. Put that on my ass, won't lie.
All right, Offensive Player of the Year. This is pretty much the MVP of skill players, essentially.
Yeah.
My pick this year, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Plus 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier, obviously I think everybody knows Christian McCaffrey and the Tyreek Hill. They're at the top of the totem pole for this voting. But CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, they're not going to run the ball.
No.
CeeDee Lamb just got this contract. I promise you they're going to use it. Dak Prescott's going to throw the ball a lot. They don't really have many options. I know Jake Ferguson's there. I don't even know who their wide receiver 2 is right now at this moment. But CeeDee Lamb, I think he's going to have a hell of a year. He was, I think, finished wide receiver 1 in fantasy last year. Could see him doing it again. I expect a huge year out of CeeDee, which we go back and we look at that draft class and that whole debate on who is the best wide receiver there. I think no question right now it's CeeDee Lamb. So, my pick will be CeeDee.
Cool. I think I am going to go with Tyreek. I think Tyreek is he's such a dominant player. I think CeeDee is right there, though. Like, if it goes to CeeDee, it would not shock me. But my pick is probably Hill just because he won it last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won it last year. I could see him win.
Or McCaffrey won it.
I could see him winning it again. I think he's just kind of dominant in that way, and that connection between him and Tua is very good. And when you're that fast, it's just kind of hard to kind of keep up with you. I think Christian McCaffrey kind of takes a little bit of a regression year, not in terms of like anything crazy, but coming off of the year that he just had.
Scoring, 23 touchdowns?
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to one-up that. So if that wasn't enough to win it, if he did win
I think he did win it.
Did he win it? I think it was Tyreek. If you want to look, but like
it was Christian McCaffrey.
It was, yeah. So winning it last year with that insane of a year,
and then voter fatigue.
Yeah, it's just up. Like you're not gonna probably make it back to that hill again. I mean, he's still gonna have a hell of a year. Anyway, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it, but I am gonna go with Tyreek Hill. I think he's just gonna keep doing what he's been doing. He just missed out on it last year as well as missed out on MVP. But that's just probably because MVP is a very hard quarterback award. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill.
Good.
And I'm going with the man we were just talking about, Christian McCaffrey. I think, just like we were talking about, with the possible implosion of this 49ers offense, I think it's all going to fall back on to Christian McCaffrey. Whether it's Brock Purdy having a bad year or whether it's them just having a bad year, I think overall everyone's just going to go back to him, and I think it's just going to lead to another fat year. Like you said, maybe not as big as last year, but I don't think it's going to be much of a slowdown for him.
Lamar won back-to-back MVPs, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe he didn't. Maybe that was like just his second. But
I think there was a year in between.
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes won it. Of course he did. So yeah, I can see. You never know. Maybe voter fatigue isn't a thing for Offensive Player of the Year if he has a year similar to what he did last year. My only sleeper here would really be Breece Hall.
Yeah,
I think Breece Hall is plus 1,500 on DraftKings right now. Just what I think how good the Jets are going to be this year. I could see him maybe sliding in there if he has a year similar to what Christian McCaffrey did last year.
Yeah.
Not saying the touchdown numbers; those were insane, but yardage, carries, wins possibly might also factor into this, and just how much of an impact he has on the Jets offense, which Christian McCaffrey did last year for the 49ers. That'd be my only sleeper, but I'm still going to roll with CeeDee Lamb being the only option in Dallas. Defensive Player of the Year. Mine might surprise you, so I'll let you go first.
Mine, you look at these odds, you see Michael Parsons, TJ Watt, all these guys. But I think a guy who is going to be the brightest diamond in one of the shittier roughs in the NFL, give me Max Crosby to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to be a very, very, very bright spot on what is otherwise a pretty dull team. He's a dog. He does what he needs to do. I think he's always been kind of trailing right behind the Parsons and the TJ Watts, but not by much. And I think this is the year he kind of takes forward, kind of gets the job done. And if they are the worst team in the NFL, it's not because of him. I think he's going to have a great year as long as he stays healthy.
Maybe Christian Wilkins helps him. Yeah. You know what I mean? They can't really double him as much, but that also maybe hurts him. Christian Wilkins may get a couple more sacks on, that could have been his. But I think that's an interesting thing to look out for sure. Your DPOI.
You took the words out of my mouth. This is crazy. I think Max Crosby is in for a sleeper year. He's only been going up in all stats pretty much, and I think that it's only getting better. He's only 5 years in, 27. I think as much as it hurts for me to say this, don't get it wrong, I think it's going to be Max Crosby.
I like it. I like Max Crosby, so I could easily see that happening. My pick, Defensive Player of the Year, I really like this. This value right here is huge. Plus 1,100 right now to get Aiden Hutchinson on DraftKings. I think he's going to have a huge year. He's kind of like in that same boat as the Max Crosby of he's been trailing behind, and he's younger, but he's been trailing behind the Parsons, the Boses, the Watts, Myles Garrett, whatever. If the Lions are as good as everybody thinks they are this year, they're going to be up by a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of points. A lot of games they're going to be up by multiple scores, which is going to force teams to throw. I think Aiden Hutchinson is bound to get 16 sacks this year, 17 sacks, which might not put him as a leader, but if it does or puts him close and the Lions have a really good year, I could see Aiden Hutchinson's impact being like a huge reason for that, especially because their defense, it was less shaky last year, but the year before that, it was pretty shaky. If they just keep improving their defense and limit more points and less points and less points, they're going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I think, one of the bigger question marks in NFL when you're talking about it, it's positionally in the draft is how well is an end going to carry over to the NFL, I think. And Aiden Hutchinson has been the poster child of that. I mean, he immediately came in and started making a difference. So that is not out of the realm of possibility to me. I think he could do that because it's kind of that same Max Crosby thing of like he's been progressing every year that he's played. It's been like 2 years. But still, it's like he's already a household name in the NFL, and he's been playing for 2 years. Yeah. So if he doesn't win it this year, I could see him winning 1, maybe 2 in the next 5 years. So he's definitely a dog to watch out for, and I like your analysis of why he's going to be on the field more too. If they're beating teams that bad, he's going to be on the field more. So I think, he's set up really good for success. So.
Yeah, I'm really hoping on that because that's going to hopefully make me a lot of money. So that one's I put a lot on. So, all right, MVP. I think this is a interesting one because obviously the investment, if you're making like an investment year to year, Patrick Mahomes is going to make you money. Mm-hmm. Like, his odds might be the lowest, but every year, I think he's won 3 MVPs already, which is insane. You can put money into him every year. It's like a investment fund. Like you can put money into him and expect money to come back at some point. Yeah. It might not be this year, might not be next year. It wasn't last year, but he's not going to be my pick. But this is why it's interesting. My pick this year, I said this earlier, right at the beginning of the show. I think this is the year of Joe Burrow. I think a lot of people forgot about him last year being banged up. The year before that, he was also kind of banged up, but then, they went to the Super Bowl. It wasn't that far off ago that he was in the Super Bowl with a terrible offensive line. If Jamar Chase just fixes his fucking attitude and signs his contract, which I don't know why he's even going through.
It's like a Brandon Ayuk situation.
But he has 2 years left on it. Yeah. He needs to get his ass back on the field, so this pick can work for me. I bet on Joe Burrow last year. Didn't work because he got hurt. I think this is the year Joe Burrow. Maybe some voter fatigue with Lamar Jackson, with Patrick Mahomes. There's going to be some hype with Jared Goff, so the Matthew Staffords, the Hurts, the Josh Allens. A lot of C.J. Stroud hype this year, I think, for MVP. But the one guy that stays literally Joe, cool, calm, and collected, Joe Burrow.
Cool.
My pick at plus 950.
I think for this pick that I'm choosing, I think if he stays on the same path, does just as good. I feel like he's gotten more weapons and a better team. I'm going to go C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to have a hell of a year on the Texans because unlike the Rookie of the Year award, you can't really win MVP if your team sucks. And this is primarily a quarterback award, so if your team sucks, you probably suck. So I'm going to go C.J. Stroud. I think his team's gotten nothing but better. I think he broke all those rookie records last year. It felt like he's a dog. I think he's got that mentality that switched over perfectly from college to the NFL. That's going to make him just a threat for years to come. If he doesn't win it this year, I could see him winning one in the next 5 years, kind of same Aiden Hutchinson situation. But I think he's just going to get even better, and his team got even better. So I think he's going to win it, and I could see the Texans maybe making a possible playoff push, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you want bang for your buck pick, I think the best way to go about it is picking Tyreek Hill. I think he's plus 10,000 right now, and you saw how close he got last year. If he can do just a little bit more than that and maybe be less of a deep bomb guy and more of just like, I'm going to catch it right here, I'm going to burn everybody, I'm going to earn my yards.
Never know.
You never know what could happen. So if you want to bang for your buck pick, I think Tyreek Hill is the best way to go. But I do think C.J. Stroud comes off of his performance from last year, keeps it going, and wins it.
Your MVP pick?
I love it. My initial thought was also C.J. Stroud if you're not going to pick the obvious Patrick Mahomes that's always picked. But I think Dak Prescott is also someone to really look at this year. Like you said, he's going to be throwing the ball a lot.
I love that pick.
CD's coming off at plus 2,000 on draft picks. I think it's, if anything, a value pick just because it could definitely happen.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think Dak is such a great pick, like you just said. I mean, they're going to throw the ball a lot, and it's a regular season award.
Yeah,
That's the good thing for
exactly.
for Dak Prescott. All right, well, if you guys have nothing else on the MVP, instead of going playoffs, because I think we kind of broke it down.
Yeah.
Let's go NFC Championship matchup, AFC Championship matchup, and then we'll go Super Bowl matchup. Pick the winner, because I think you guys kind of heard us break it down on who we thought was going to win the division and our sneaky wild card teams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you guys want to hear more of that. So, NFC Championship, AFC Championship, Super Bowl matchup. Pick the winner. I'll go first just to give you guys some time to think, because I just threw this on you guys. But NFC, I think who's going to finish the 1 seed in the NFC, I think it's going to be the Detroit Lions. But I did mention at the beginning of the show that I think storybook endings are going to be wrote. My NFC Championship matchup is going to be the Los Angeles Rams going back into Ford Field. Rematch of Week 1, rematch of last year's playoffs. And I think the Rams are going to beat the Detroit Lions in Ford Field this year to go to the Super Bowl. My AFC picks are going to be Kansas City Chiefs. Naturally, I think they're going to be the 1 seed in the AFC. And then honestly, I've been struggling between this for a while, between 2 teams, and I'm going to go with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to play against the 49ers anymore in the playoffs.
Yep.
That is the only hope I'm getting him. I was going to go probably Bengals because I do think this is the year of Joe Burrow. I just think Aaron Rodgers is playoff. If he can make it there, we talked about this earlier, his health, his gas that he has left in him. If he can make it there, all you have to do is beat Patrick Mahomes 1 game. That's all you have to do. That's not going to happen, though. I think it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl. And I think they're going to do it. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be the first team ever to three-peat. So, sorry for any Broncos fans listening, any NFL fan listening, anybody that's been stripped of joy these last couple of years watching Patrick Mahomes. I haven't. So, I haven't had to run into this where my Colts, I think the last time the Colts played them, we beat them. So, fuck them. Don't let us see them. But no, I think the Chiefs are going to do it again. That's not the hottest take in the world, but I think they're going to be the first team ever to three-peat in the NFL. So I think it's, like I said, storybook is starting.
So I'll start in my NFC Championship match. I love the way you're thinking. I'm not very storybook. I think it's going to be Dallas Cowboys versus the 49ers in the Conference Championship. I think the Cowboys finally...
Are they going to get a bye?
The Cowboys?
Yeah.
I can see them getting a bye.
Okay, because they're going to have to because they can't win 2 playoff games.
But anyway, I think the Cowboys finally figure something out. I think they have to, and I think that's going to force them to kind of knock themselves down a peg and make them fight a little bit harder for it. I think they figured out the issues and the clunks and maybe not being looked at as like this perfect team might be able to push them over that little hump. I think it's them. I do think that the 49ers struggle to get to this game. I do not think it's an easy run, but I think that fatigue kind of wears off on them. I think Dallas Cowboys win the NFC Championship, go to the Super Bowl finally after years of being pushing to get it. Now in the AFC is where I get weird. I do agree that there's...
Wait. You said the Cowboys were going to make the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And that wasn't getting weird?
But I know we said this earlier. I think, and I don't think we're wrong either. I think the AFC East puts 3 teams in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think all 3 of them fucking lose. I'm not joking. I think the Jets go down, my Dolphins go down, Bills go down. I think the Ravens and the Bengals are going to be in the playoffs, and I think they might be the guys to kind of tear through those teams because I think they might be a little bit better. But at the end of the day...
That leaves 2 teams that I can think of.
It leaves 3 for me.
Okay.
Chiefs. I think the Bengals can't get it done versus the Ravens when it comes time to really getting it done in the playoffs. So I think the Ravens are going to be playing in it. I think the Houston Texans are going to be playing. I think the Houston Texans are going to be doing it. I think the Chiefs, as good as they are, I know, and it's a hot take.
You say this every year.
I know.
Not you, just everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, the Chiefs are becoming more and more on the level with other teams, I think, personally. I think Mahomes separates them them by a little bit, which is what leads them to win the Super Bowl.
But you could argue that this is like the best staff they've had around Patrick Mahomes since Tyreek Hill left.
It's true. But I mean, winning it 3 times in a row is hard.
It is.
And I think they had some trials, tribulations in the playoffs last year too.
And in the offseason.
So I think if there's a year where they're kind of maybe going to take a small step back, it could be this year. And then if the Houston Texans get hot, I think they could be a team that could beat them in the playoffs. And I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, I'm going Ravens versus Texans. And I think the Ravens also finally get over that hump. And Lamar finally gets that win he so desperately needs right now in his career. And I think he goes to the Super Bowl. So my Super Bowl would be Ravens versus Cowboys. Nobody's watching, but I think it's Ravens versus Cowboys in that Super Bowl.
All of America is watching.
Yeah. But I think, and if you want full guesses here, I think the Cowboys win it.
Holy shit. This can't happen. This can't happen, guys. We can't let the Cowboys do this. I mean, you said you weren't in for the storybooks. You might have got a little bit more storybook than me. All right, Gaden, your breakdown.
I don't know if I'm getting that.
I don't know how you get better. You can't write 2 stories better than that.
I can't.
Say the Donkeys are going to win it. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm taking the Bears. No. I think Lions are also making it. I think that this is their year. I think they're going to be unstoppable. My second one, this is where I get tough because I was in between the Cowboys and the 49ers, actually. I can't see the Cowboys doing it. I can't see them.
The pure fact of you just can't see it.
I can't see them winning those playoff games. So I guess I'm gonna stick 49ers. And I think, like you said, Jackson, it's gonna be a long, beaten down road for them to get there. And I think the Lions are gonna cruise their way.
They should have won last year.
The Super Bowl?
They should have beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship last year.
Yeah. I 100% agree. So I think, Lions, they're taking it again. Rematch. AFC, I hate them.
I hate to say it.
I hate them so much. The Chiefs are probably going to be there. I agree with what you're saying, Jackson, but I don't think it's just yet. I think this is probably their last one. I hope. I pray.
Hey, Travis Kelce just signed a little extension in the offseason.
I hope and pray that it's their last one. They slow down somehow, but I'm thinking Chiefs. And I'm going to give it, to play devil's advocate, I'm giving it to the Dolphins. I think Dolphins are going to make the hump. They got a good defense this year. Their offense is looking good still. I think things are going to start clicking.
If Dolphins get 2 home playoff games before they go see the Chiefs in the championship, or a bye, and they only have to play 1 home game.
And if everything works out.
That's not out of realm.
And the gods pray. We got the Dolphins going to the Super Bowl, baby. I can't say it.
Dolphins versus the Lions?
He couldn't even say it with confidence.
Yeah, no, it'd be. I got Kansas City and Lions, and I think if we're doing full predictions,
I
got Lions.
I totally agree with this take. I think if the Lions played in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, I think the Lions would win. If I think any other team in the NFC plays against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I think they'd lose. Which I had the Rams.
But also, I think with the Chiefs, like obviously they are who they are, and like no matter what my pick is, they're the top pick to win it all.
No.
But I think it depends on who they play. I think that's 100% what it comes down to. I think if they can make it to the Super Bowl and they're playing against a team that had to really fight and grind their way through and they're tired and they're just whatever, and they're just not as good as the Chiefs, I think Chiefs win it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a chance that the Chiefs play the Bengals in the first round of the playoffs if they don't get the bye, or they play the Ravens in the first round, and we could see a very early out of the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Or
just get banged up.
Or they could squeak by, play the Bills, who I don't think are a team that can win a Super Bowl this year.
No.
Or they could play the Dolphins first round, who I think could maybe give them a run, but I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs will get hot late and the Dolphins won't. So I don't know. And it would probably most likely be in KC that late in the year. It'll be cold. It's a tough place to win in. I don't know. They could get a very easy run through here, or they could play the Texans, the Jets, the Ravens, the Bengals. They could play any of those teams. They could easily beat them, and they could make an early round out as just as easy as they could go to the Super Bowl and win it all.
No.
So that's why I love football, because you have to play the game.
Have to play the game.
And whatever's on paper just doesn't fucking matter at all It's all about what you do when the whistle blows for the next 60 minutes. How are you going to play any given Sunday type shit?
Yep.
Any team can win or
or
lose.
Monday or Wednesday or
The Browns
Thursday,
could crack into the playoffs and win all the way and go to the fucking Super Bowl somehow. You have no idea how they're going to play. So I think it's really awesome this point of the year because there's so much optimism and there's so much curiosity of what's going to happen throughout the year. And we're sitting here saying the Chiefs could win it all. They could be the best team in the NFL. They could win it all in the Super Bowl. Or they could struggle throughout the year, be in the first round, play a team like the Ravens and lose and be done.
Nope.
Like, we don't know how they're going to play. We know how Patrick Mahomes is going to play, but how are the Chiefs going to play? And I think that's the biggest question.
It is.
And I think that's the same thing for every team. Aaron Rodgers, dog. How is he going to mesh with the team? Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Because I don't know who their backup is currently, but
I think Mike White still.
if he goes down, that team kind of falls
Maybe. I don't know.
a little bit out of grace.
Yeah.
So it's like you never know. I mean, I hope not. I want to see him play a full, healthy season, but Aaron Rodgers could go down week 3 and be out for the year again.
No.
You don't know. So, we don't wish injury upon anybody, but that's the type of stuff that can and will happen in a season.
It will
Somebody in this whole discussion that we're saying is going to be a threat, their big guy is going to go down, and it's going to ruin their season.
For sure.
So,
Happens every year.
yep. So we'll see.
If anyone would believe, it's Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he went there, yeah. Shout out Tyrod.
Yeah. Shout out the doctor.
Yeah, fuck.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got Justin Herbert starting job. So,
You saw that.
well, I guess we're all excited for week 1. If you can't tell,
Yeah.
starts this Thursday. This episode will be out Thursday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you turn in Thursday night football that night. Chiefs Ravens. It's a banner night for the Chiefs. I believe teams that have won the Super Bowl on banner night are 2-7-1 against the spread in the last 9 games or 10 games, whatever it is. So. Ravens +4. If you're listening to this, or I think it's +3.5 now. Might not be too terrible. Actually, I think it moved down to +3 already.
I think the Ravens.
I think the Ravens have a chance to win that game. That's what's best about the NFL. The Lions walked into Arrowhead last year and won, and then the Chiefs ended up winning the Super Bowl. So that's the best thing about the NFL. Anything can happen. So Friday, I believe it's on Peacock or NBC. What is it? It's Eagles, Packers in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Monday night, 49ers, Jets in San Fran. Sunday night, Lions, Rams, and then a whole good slate on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody will be tuned in. We'll be tuned in. Our recap of that, we'll have a normal schedule next week, Tuesday to Thursday. We'll record Tuesday, give you the episode Thursday. After that, we're going to go record Sundays, probably do Monday or Tuesday. So week 1 will be a little weird. We won't get our recap out till a little late. But week 2 will be on the schedule we want and on the schedule we think will be best for you guys, the listeners. So we're more than excited. Football season starts tonight as you're listening to this. So, yeah, let's fucking do it.
Let's go, boys.
Let's do it.
Football's back.
All right, well, we'll wrap this up. See you guys next week. Me and Caden are going on vacation. Peace out. You guys will be here watching football.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way to watch football on vacation, of course. So, yeah. Like we said at the beginning of the show, go tell somebody you love them. Life is precious, and you might just make their day. Peace.
Peace.